Yeah, so our title today is how to know if your book will sell. How would you know if your book will sell? And this is important because people have asked me, so what should I talk about? What should be my book title? What is going to make money and stuff like that? How do I know that this book is going to make money? Because authoring a book is an investment. It requires your time, it requires your effort, it requires your money, and several other things. So you want to know that whatever time, whatever resources you put into this is going to gain results. Hi, just around you, glad to have you here. So you want to know, people want to know, like, if I put in this amount of energy, thank you for the likes, if I put in this amount of energy, I'm going to get results. So people want to know, will my book sell? Will I make money from my book? Is this a waste of my time? Is this a waste of my resources? And that is the question I want to attempt to answer today, or I am attempting to answer today. So how will you know that your book will sell? How do you know? How can you tell, right, that your book will sell? Now, I have to warn you that if you did not watch last week's live session where I talked about who can remind me of the topic for last week now? Well, it was for authors here, and it talks about how to sell your book. Actually, how to sell your book if you have a low marketing budget. So your marketing budget is low, you don't have so much money to spend, you don't have tons of money to invest in book tours and social media marketing. How can you start to sell your book with a low marketing budget, right, and actually make sales? So we talked about how to sell your first 1,000 copies. So if you did not watch that session, please, I beg that you go back and watch that session. It was quite helpful. I got so much feedback. A number of people, in fact, even people who came to me during the week with questions on book sales, I directed them there and they got value from it. So those who watched and those who watched the replay, I got good feedback about how useful that session was. And I know, and I said it during that session, that those tips I shared were practical and they were going to help you as long as you put them into practice. So if you did not watch last week's session, please go and watch that session, right? So moving on, big question: how will I know that my book will sell? How will I know that it's not going to be a waste of my time and my energy? How do I know that when I invest into this book project that it's going to give me returns, right? So one way to do that is to ask your community. Remember, I talked about, going back to watch last week's replay, I talked a lot about community there. So if you are wondering what I mean by community, maybe all you know is a Facebook group and all of that, you need to go back and watch that replay, right? So the first thing you can do is to actually ask your community. So if by this time you have built your community, and again, your community here could simply be your people who are going to benefit from this book, right? So let's say you are writing a book on marriage, right? Marriage is a popular topic. Marriage. So you want to write a book on marriage, how to keep your home and stuff like that. But for you to want to write a book like that, it probably means that there are people who have asked you questions before. There are people who have come to you for counsel and you've been able to help them. Or there are things you have noticed that you think, I think I should talk about this. I think I should shed more light on this. But you don't just put a book out there without testing your theories, right? Especially if it is a self-help book. So this is going to work especially for people in the self-help industry. Yeah. So ask your community, ask your audience. And you're also probably saying, yeah, but I haven't written the book. How do I know who my audience is? Good question. Now, if you go to our website, www.sw-advantage.com, you will find there a free ebook that would answer that question on how to determine who your audience is. So I will not go into that in this video. I have that resource for you. You can go there, find out how to decide, how to decode whom your audience is. So the first thing is you have to even decide who your audience is. Let's say you've not already built a community of people who revolve around this thought you want to put out there, but you have so you need to design your ideal audience. Who is your ideal audience for this book, right? And then sample them. So if you do not have your ideal audience around you, please, why are you writing? Who are you going to sell your book to, right? So it only makes sense that by the time you design your ideal audience, you should be able to pick 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 people around you who fits into the profile of your ideal audience. Now, the next thing you may want to do is to ask them questions. You may want to find out what problems are you dealing with? What kind of solutions are you looking for? So, like I said earlier, maybe you want to write a book on marriage, right? You want to write a book on marriage, and you have this idea that you're going to write a book for women on how they can keep their homes, right? And then you decide to sample this audience, right? You decide to sample this audience. You begin to ask them questions. What are you struggling with in your marriage? What are the things that you would like solutions to? What are the things that you could pay for? Now, if I were going to write a book on how to keep your marriage, would you buy it? Do you get? Those are some of the questions that you could ask, and you sample. So you are literally sampling their opinions. Now, you may also say, oh, I'm a shy person, or I'm not a shy person, but I don't believe that people should know anything about me. I don't believe that anyone around me should know what I want to do. I like to keep my cards close to my chest. I don't want to tell people that I'm writing a book. It's okay. That's why we have something like SurveyMonkey, right? We have tools like SurveyMonkey. So you can use a SurveyMonkey tool. You can use a survey tool to sample opinions out there. You can use it to sample other people's opinions and find out, is this something they would pay for? Would you buy a book? Or would you buy material that teaches you how to keep your husband? Would you buy what problems are you dealing? So because usually you would have an idea what you want to write about in your book, so you might also sample ideas like, is this something you need solution to? Is this a problem that you need a solution to? Is this a pressing problem, right? So by the time you do that, 2 things that will definitely happen after your survey is, number 1, you will find out if people are willing to pay for the solution that you think they need, and then number 2, you will get to know what problems they are dealing with. Because here's the thing, a solution provider, right, somebody who has an idea, oftentimes what happens is that we fall in love with our idea. We think that, oh, this idea is great and people need solutions to it. So it's like, I decide tomorrow that I want to sell clothes, right? And I fall in love with the idea of selling clothes. I decide, oh my god, I fantasize about this clothes I'm going to sell. However, if I do not sample my market, if I do not take this clothes to a few people and see if they are interested in buying it, I may end up buying a truckload of clothes that I have nobody to sell to, right? So this is where the idea of asking questions comes in, where you are able to sample your audience, find out what problems they are dealing with, what problems they are willing to pay for, or rather what solutions they are willing to pay for, and then you can tie it into your book. The interesting thing is that those solutions may be inside your book, so it will guide the way you promote your book, right? It will guide the way you promote your book. So if there are solutions that maybe you would not have thought about before, now you are going to use it in your sales copy to say, lots of people need answers to this problem, and these answers are included in this book. So you know the pain point of your audience and you are able to address it. So by the time you sample, you would be able to get answers to whether people are willing to pay for your book. And of course, this is for those who are yet to really invest in, like, you've not produced the book yet, you've not publish the book. But if you've already published the book, it can still help you, right? It can help you know, again, like I said, how to market your book. If the solutions that you have in your book are synonymous to the solutions that your audience, your ideal audience in this case, is looking for. Right. Now, the second thing that you can do is to give snippets and ask for feedback. So by this I mean, let's say you have a 13 chapter book. You have a 13 chapter book. Instead of giving people 13 chapters, you can give them 2 chapters. Give it out for free, for instance, or you can get a few readers. There, in the literary world, there are people who are called readers. These are people who are willing to read your book and give you feedback on it. These are not even reviewers, but they're just, like leisurely readers. Sometimes you may have to pay them. Sometimes they may want to do it for you for free. Now, what I would advise is that your readers should fall within your ideal audience. Again, going back to the example of marriage. So you want to write a book on marriage, how to keep your home, but your ideal audience are married couples, right? Or married individuals, maybe either couples or apart. And you decide to choose readers who are single. Now, readers who are single have not gotten into the marriage, so they may not know. So there are things you may say that people who are already married are dealing with, but people who are single are thinking, oh, that's not going to be a problem in my marriage, right? Now you're going to miss it. So you need to ensure that when you are sampling your book, when you're giving out samples, that you're giving out the samples to your ideal audience. Again, like I said, if you want to know how to find your ideal audience, how to find your ideal readers, please go to our website. I'm sure you can find it. You'll find it in the link on our bio. Go there, click the link. You will get the free ebook. It's explicit and it states clearly how you can find your ideal readers. Okay, so sample, give snippets, and ask for feedback. You can give them a few chapters, ask for their feedback, ask for reviews. Like, don't just give it to them, let them know that, look, I'm looking for feedback. And give to people who are honest. All right, who are honest, not people who are going to sugarcoat things, not people who are going to lie, not people who are going to say, oh, this book is the best thing since sliced bread, meanwhile they did not read it. Okay, so you need to ensure that when you are choosing readers, that you are choosing people who can tell you the truth to your face. So give snippets and ask for feedback. Or you can choose a group of readers, give them the book to read the entire book and ask for feedback. I must tell you that you need to protect your copyright when doing this, right? So let them know that this book is not something to distribute. It's for sale, and you do not intend to have your book spread among friends, right? And then the final point, right, except if somebody has a question while I'm rounding that up, would be to, if you want to know whether your book is going to sell, assess yourself. Find out if you are ready to put your skin in the game, right? Because your book can be magnificent, your book can be awesome, your book can be wonderful, yet you may not be prepared to put your skin in the game. You may not be prepared to give it your all. You may not be prepared to do what it takes to market your book. See, if you don't market your book, I'm sorry, it will not sell. Even in traditional publishing, the way traditional publishing works, which is where the publishing house, take up the distribution, the sales and the distribution of your book, and they pay you royalties. What happens is that you need to show up for book tours, you need to show up for events, you need to show up for speaking engagements, you need to put yourself out there. So while they are willing to bear the cost, they are going to need your face to promote the book. How much more if you're a self-published author? So you can't just publish a book and go to bed and say, oh yeah, my book is on Amazon or my book is on bookstores. People are just going to see it, fall in love with it, and start buying it. No. You need to put your skin in the game. You need to be willing to sell. You need to be willing to put your face out there. You need to be willing to connect. And many times this starts from the writing process. So sometimes, authors are shy. You want to write a book, but you don't want to talk about yourself. You want to write a book, but you don't want to connect with the book. You want to stand apart from your book and have your readers, you can't separate your entity from your book. It doesn't matter what you're writing, whether it's a fiction novel or whether it's your biography. You need to be willing to put your skin in it. You need to put yourself in it, to immerse yourself in your book. So whether it's in the writing, whether it's in the marketing, you need to be there. So you need to ask yourself, the same way you're asking yourself with my book self, you also need to ask yourself, am I willing to put my skin in the game? Am I willing to risk, showing my face? Right? And then once you've been able to do these 3 things, if your answer to the number 3 is that yes, then I assure you that your questions are answered. So by the time you do these 3 things, you would know if your book will sell, because people may love the idea of your book, but if you do not put your skin in the game, they will not see your book and they will not buy it. So yeah, that's it. No questions for now. So but thank you so much, guys. Thanks to everyone. Thanks for the loves. I'm seeing your feedback. Thank you so much. Thank you. I appreciate that. Okay, that's not a question. So thank you so much for joining. I appreciate your being here. Thank you for showing up, right? And like I said, if you did not watch the last replay, please scroll down our page to last Monday and watch that replay. I look forward to seeing you next week Monday. Have a fantastic Christmas.